Okay, well, hey neighbors, and welcome to the Shed Shop Bedroom Edition. I have an update on the video I've posted. I will pin a comment to the video, and I will also post it in the description. It is a video in which me and my Fatty Buntings doggo were very much discriminated against, belittled, berated, and degraded by nursing staff at the emergency room at Maury Regional Hospital in Columbia, Tennessee, and as well by the security staff of the hospital. And for clarification, the dog in the video is employed by the hospital. It is not a police canine. It is the security is directly employed by the hospital, and so is the canine. And I am disabled, and this is my service dog, Fatty Buntings, and I actually just got out of jail because I was falsely imprisoned, and that's going to be a completely another story for you. But for now, this is the update all of you have been requesting. If you have not seen that video, please go watch it, and I encourage you, please watch this full video because it's going to explain a lot of details of what happened, and it's going to explain a lot of details of who I am. I know it's not going to be the most entertaining video, and it's going to be nothing but me talking, but this is who I am, raw, real, and in my bedroom of my moldy, dilapidated, filthy, vile, disgusting, falling apart trailer, as my uncle is still in the hospital. So let's start there with the update. This all started because I had to bring my uncle to the emergency room. He had been sick for about a week, and he got so bad that I could tell he was delusional. And so Monday night before the Tuesday that I took him into the hospital and took this video, the other video, I'm sorry, the link that I will put here in text, and I will also put it in the comments down below and pin it, and I will put it in the description down below. So please go watch that first, and then come back here. I will post this video at the end of that video so that you can click right on the end card after you've watched that other video. Please leave a comment on it, like it, and I ask you also consider subscribing to the channel because you will be able to follow this story, and I'm going to be bringing the other story of why I was arrested and the dash cam footage of 3 years ago, the incident. I had charges dropped against me with prejudice, which means they couldn't refile the charges, and all of a sudden 3 years later I had a warrant for my arrest, and I'm going to explain all of that story coming up in different videos. But so my uncle had ended up getting a full body infection. They're not quite sure how, but we believe it's because my uncle picks at his skin too much, and it got into his bloodstream through one of his wounds, and he ended up going septic and full renal failure. And when I brought him to the emergency room, I pulled up front, I went inside, I grabbed the male nurse at the counter, I said, can you please get a wheelchair and assist me in bringing my uncle in? I have thrown out my back, I'm disabled. I threw out my back carrying my 230-pound uncle to the truck because he was physically unable. The Monday night before I took him to the hospital, I made him call into work, and I just spoke to him today finally again, and he had told me he doesn't even remember calling into work. The last 2 or 3 days before he was in the hospital, he doesn't remember any of it. And so Monday night I told him, Uncle, you really need to go to the hospital, but I had not slept. I have insomnia. My pain had kept me up all night. I said, I'm going to get some rest, but first thing in the morning we're going to go ahead and take you to the hospital. And my uncle said, okay. I said, but Uncle, if you get worse, you need to come wake me up. And my uncle did get worse, but he didn't realize it. He shit the bed, and I didn't know that until after I brought him to the hospital. But I woke up at 5:30 in the morning to find my uncle on the couch, which he doesn't even sit on our couch. And he was laying there, and I went out there, and I asked him, I said, Uncle, what are you doing on the couch? And he told me he was struggling, that he didn't feel well. And I immediately told him, all right, that's it, Uncle. I'm taking you to the hospital right now. And my uncle is so kind and so considerate in so many ways, despite his shittiness as a human being, that he was like, didn't want me to have to drive all the way to Columbia, but our hospital here in Lewisburg is terrible. And I said, no, Uncle, you are very sick. I'm taking you to the good hospital, which I thought everything would be good. But when we arrived, I went in, I informed the nurse, my uncle is not in his right mind. I am his decision maker. I have all of his information for you. I have to park the truck and grab my service dog, and I will be right in. So I did that. They got my uncle. took him to the triage room. I parked the truck, grabbed my Fatty Bunting's doggo here, and we went ahead and went inside. I stepped into the triage room, and I was immediately confronted by the triage nurse, Lauren, and she said, you can't bring that dog in here. We don't allow dogs here. And I said, no, ma'am, she is a service animal. I'm disabled. And she said, no, it doesn't matter. We have people that are afraid of dogs and have allergies. You can't have that dog in here. And she immediately basically pushed me out of the room by approaching me and slammed the door in my face, nearly hit me physically with the door. And ironically enough, her responses and reasons for me not being able to have a dog there are really crazy, considering this hospital employs canines in their hospital. And so I guess the fears and allergies don't matter when it's their dogs. But the Americans with Disabilities Act is very, very easy to look up. You can Google Americans with Disabilities Act service dogs, and you will find all the information I provide in the video is 100% accurate fact. They are not required to be registered. There's no such thing. All these sites you see that talk about registration of service animals are private companies that really are violating federal law, yet they get away with it. And for many years, it caused a lot of problems in industry, because people were bringing all kinds of pets to businesses, restaurants, everywhere. Snakes, rabbits, miniature horses, and emotional support animals had the same rights as service animals. And the law has changed. It changed, I believe it started in 2004, and then in 2014, I think it was, they amended it more to deny emotional support animals the same rights as service animals. So basically, a service animal does not have to be registered. There's no tags required. They're not required to wear a vest. And while many people say, wouldn't it make it easier on me if I would just go ahead and register my dog or put a vest on her? But they don't realize my disability makes it very difficult even to strap her into a harness. That's why most times, despite it being better for her to have a harness on if she has to do pulling, because sometimes she has to pull me out of bed and stuff, I often have to use a collar because it's so hard for me to get a harness on my dog, and I don't like leaving a collar or harness on her 24/7. That being said, I immediately sat down in a chair and turned on my camera. A lot of people have assumed that this video is an audit. It is in a way, but it was not intentional. I never intended to turn on my camera in any type of way. But I knew I had to, because I had my rights violated in the past, and I actually got arrested a few years back in Yucaipa, California, because a gas station attendant said my dog is supposed to have a little red tag and refused me service, and he called the police. And even though there was no audio on their cameras, I was arrested for felony terroristic threatening. And while the charges were dismissed, I never did sue that business because I've never really believed in suing. However, I will let all of you know, yes, I am fully intending to sue both the hospital and the police department, as well as name every individual involved in the lawsuit personally. Now, with that, I have also taken y'all's advice and started a GoFundMe. I will give you a link to that in the description as well, and the pinned comment. I only did that because you guys said I should, and I am discovering that it is very expensive to hire this type of lawyer, let alone find this type of lawyer. So the update on my uncle is he went septic, went on a ventilator, went on dialysis, went on feeding tube, catheter, the whole nine. And I had to make some very, very hard decisions. But fortunately, while I was in jail, my father showed up unannounced in Tennessee. So the day I got arrested, my father showed up in Tennessee. That is my uncle's brother. And so he was here to take care of my uncle and make his medical decisions while I was incapable of doing that. And my uncle had the ventilator removed a few days after I went into hospital or into jail, which was about a week after he went into the hospital, maybe 10 days. And then today I got to talk to him because today I got out of jail. Today is Monday, November 11, I believe. Let me check, guys. Well, I'm sorry. It is Monday, November 13th, but really it's technically Tuesday as I take this video because it's just past midnight. I am sorry the light is not the greatest, neighbors. I am raw, real, and honest oftentimes on this channel. Okay, I thought my phone might have been dying, but it's not. I unplugged my charger trying to get it. And so today my uncle also had his dialysis line removed. Now he will have to go to assisted living for 2 to 4 weeks minimum to regain his strength, and hopefully he still has a job, but he is on the mend, and we didn't think his kidneys were going to recover. Really, they basically told me my uncle had very little chance of living. They were informing me that I needed to make preparations and start planning for the worst. And the nurses described it as he was deep into the woods. When I sat down in that chair and turned on my camera, they called security. The police had already been at the hospital for something unrelated, and they called the police over. And if you've gone over and watched that video or already watched that video and are here for the update, you know what happened. The charge nurse came out and immediately asked me what was going on. I said, your nurse violated my rights. She responded, no, she did not. And then she says, can you tell me what happened? She had no idea what happened, and she kept telling me I was arguing with her and telling me I could leave if I was going to argue. And many of you have noticed she was the one, in fact, arguing with me, and I handled the situation properly. I was calm, I was polite, I was respectful, and it's amazing that it took over an hour because this incident started several minutes before I turned on the camera, and it was, I believe, a 46-minute video. I encourage you to watch it all the way through if you have not already. In the end, you will see me turn off the camera, and I inform you at the end with my outro. I'm sorry, I got dog hair all over my face. That they did allow me back into the hospital, and there is a very specific reason I did agree to turn off my camera, because although I was trying to just turn it away and keep recording so there would be audio, once you pass out of the ER into those back rooms, I don't want a nurse like that charge nurse to end up killing somebody because she's distracted by her fear of a camera. And also, I wanted to respect the privacy of other patients that were there because I do care about them and I do care about their health. And they could have had an ambulance come in with a child that was naked because they were in trauma where their clothes had to be cut off. And I would not want to be a parent that had somebody with a camera. Yes, the hospital has cameras, but it's not like they're posting that footage on YouTube or they're private citizens recording. And so I simply wanted to get back to my uncle, and I wanted to honor the hospital's policy after that fact of not recording. Of course, the law supersedes their policy, and it is a very gray area. They receive government funding, but they are technically, apparently, considered a private facility. And so the act of recording is a gray area based on the First Amendment. I believe the First Amendment would uphold recording in the emergency waiting room, the publicly accessible areas. And while the back of the ER is a publicly accessible area, there is a lot of difference because you have to be allowed in there. You can't just walk through a door. It's a locked, secured area. With that being said, neighbors, I have had a 2-hour conversation with the lawyer of the hospital, Linda, and I recorded that conversation, and I am trying to obtain a lawyer and seek legal counsel before I post that conversation to the internet. Now, that video will be 2 hours long, and it will be mainly audio. I'm not the greatest editor. I'm still learning, and so I don't have a way to make it visually entertaining, so it will probably be more of a just listening video. I move around a lot. I'm outside smoking cigarettes a lot. And a lot of you also have commented, well, not a lot of you, a couple of you commented that, well, it's hard to believe you're disabled when I see you working on chainsaws and this and that. But I will let you guys know that I am physically disabled. One of these days, I will expose my scars to you. You can see some of my videos. I wear tank tops, and you can see how deformed my shoulder is. This arm, the shoulder, is basically a pin to the body, and the shoulder only moves a little bit, and I'll have severe nerve damage. And so I drop items a lot. I have balance issues. And I spend a lot of time in my bed. And I only started doing the chainsaws again as a little hobby, but unfortunately, my uncle and I's financial situation is not great. Our home is falling apart, and so I had no choice but to find a way to make a little bit of extra money because the government had stopped my disability, and so I had to go and do a review, and they finally did. I got the letter today that they are going to allow me to continue to receive disability, that they do agree I am still disabled, and so that is a huge relief. But you will see, I go downhill very fast over the 10 months that I've been doing this, 9 months I've been doing this on YouTube, and that I started the YouTube right when I started the chainsaws again. And I'm unable to do it. I cannot pull cord. You'll hear me talk a lot about how I need to get out of this, how I can't do this anymore, and I'm just trying to meet my obligations. And I have put myself about $9,000 to $10,000 in debt right now, trying to get this hobby to making money. And I just wanted to get all of my customer neighbor stuff out and finish up some main projects, and to just do a chainsaw here and there. But please understand, just because I don't look disabled does not mean I am not disabled. Much of my pain is invisible. When we think of disability, we often think of blind people and people with missing limbs and stuff. I'm not missing a limb, but my limb is very deformed. I have osteoarthritis, scoliosis, degenerative disc disease, fibromyalgia, rheumatoid arthritis. I have the nerve damage, as I mentioned. I have had my pelvis reconstructed. I've obtained a moderate traumatic brain injury, a 4th-degree burn on my back where I lost a lot of tissue on the left side, which causes problems on the left side, and my hands quite frequently go numb. Quite frequently, my phone will not respond to my finger touch because the electricity is not there, and I have to use a stylus a lot because my fingers don't work. And so I do not have a problem with people respectfully asking about that stuff. SmallEngineRedemption@gmail.com is my email, neighbors. If you want to ask questions, you can ask them in the comments, or you can email me. But please understand that just because you see one part of my life, you don't see much of my life where I spend days on end in bed. You don't see the times my uncle has to help me bathe. You don't see that this is embarrassing and I don't like sharing it, but I had to learn to wipe my ass with my left hand. And so you don't see the days where I really struggle and I have to use a tool that pinches my paper for me, and I have to go between my legs, neighbors, to wipe my butt. And that's very hard to share that, but I think it's important to give you the facts and the vulnerability, so that others know that we all have struggles that you might not be able to see, and don't make assumptions based on appearance. There are days where I just cannot move. There are days where I'm a pure asshole, because my pain makes me so irritable and causes me to be so frustrated and depressed that I'm a man that just wants to go to work with his 2 hands, and I cannot most days. And it's getting worse and worse and worse. I have degenerative conditions. I also have Crohn's disease. That being said, the conversation with the lawyer, she 100% admits the hospital's fault. Of course, the police refused to acknowledge any accountability, refused to offer any apology. And the lawyer has asked me to assist her in structuring training programs so that this does not happen to other people in the future. They have had staff discriminate against me on several visits to my uncle up front as you walk into the hospital, in the critical care unit, walking by the cafe, in the elevator. And so, obviously, the training can't happen overnight, but I was assured by their patient advocate, Sarah Berry, that this would not happen to me again, and it did. And so I called back, and I kept telling them I need to speak to the hospital administrator, not the patient advocate, and I ended up getting a call from the lawyer, Linda, and like I said, I recorded that whole phone call. She knew I was recording it. I made her very aware, just like I made Sarah Berry aware, even though I'm not required by law. According to the Tennessee wiretap law, only I have to give consent to record the phone call. I don't have to tell them. And so the lawyer knew it was being recorded, yet she still acknowledged over and over again that what happened was wrong, and that the hospital staff was wrong, and that training needed to take place. And she was very apologetic, very sympathetic. And this is the lady that's going to represent them in a lawsuit. And so it was kind of perplexing to me that she was openly admitting this fault, knowing I'm recording our phone call. And so I am, neighbors, trying to find a lawyer and hire a lawyer. I only had 1 day of calls, and I called probably 30 lawyers, but none of them take these types of cases. And when I do find one, I know the retainer is going to be very, very pricey. And so that's why I went ahead and took you guys' advice to hold these people accountable and work on suing them, and to start the GoFundMe thing like you guys suggested. And so again, that's there, and it will be available for you. And I will have the rest of this story for you guys as it unfolds, as live as I can, so to speak. Again, there are legalities I have to be mindful of, and I don't want to post that phone call and other phone calls I've had with hospital staff and other encounters I've had with hospital staff based on my desire to first seek legal counsel and obtain legal counsel and follow their advice to the best of my ability within my convictions. And so I want to say I am trying so very hard to respond to all the comments, but being in jail for 8 days, I've gotten really far behind. So neighbors, please know, if you have left a comment on that video and I have not responded yet, I will do my best to get to it. You guys have been so overwhelming in the support and the amount of comments, and a lot of them are the same or similar comments. And I could copy and paste responses, but I don't like to do that. I like to let you be sure you know that I actually read your comment. I'm not the creators like so many out there that say, you see those hearts, you know I read those comments, so keep them coming. Neighbors, 1 click is all it takes to heart every single one of your comments and not read it, not ever read it. And general replies do not mean your comments got read on other channels. And so many people say they like my channel because of that fact. I have so many people come in saying, I like that you actually respond to your comments. And I have dozens of subscribers that I communicate with on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis via telephone, via email, via voice texting. Ted Neitzel and Rob Weaver and Daryl Johnson, and I could list dozens and dozens more. Dammit Bobby, Jason Gwynn, Jonathan Luna, let's see, we have Justin B, so many more that I share my phone number with you guys for that purpose, because life is hard, and you guys are my support system, and I desire to be part of your support systems. Everybody needs somebody outside of their circle, so to speak. I don't have a circle, but everybody needs somebody outside of their general category of family and friends and coworkers that they can share life with, discuss their burdens, discuss their concerns, their goals, their dreams, etc., knowing that they won't have certain types of judgment passed on them that family tend to do, that coworkers tend to do, that your friends tend to do. And so I try to be that person for as many people as possible, and it makes my life better, and it makes my life easier. And so I continue to encourage any of you that want to contact me directly. With that, I don't want to make this video too long, so I updated you on my uncle. I've updated you a little bit on my condition, and I've updated you on the fact that I have not read all of your comments yet, but I have spent about 4 hours today in between trying to call all my bill collectors, my credit card companies, my building company, the hospitals, the lawyers in Texas, the DAs in Texas, the sheriffs here, the sheriffs in Texas, and work out my case and everything else. And I will continue as I have time to read your comments and give you personal responses, letting you know that I read your comment, what I think, and how much I appreciate the positive comments, the encouraging comments, the comments of people that actually took the time to watch the video and to say, hey, You were right. It only took me 2 minutes to look that law up. I cannot believe you were treated this way. I cannot believe. I love that so many people are now recognizing, like, I see that nurse, that charge nurse, the way she's calling me argumentative, yet she's so hostile, and she's the one being argumentative, and I'm completely polite and civil. And if my uncle was not sick, you guys, I may not have reacted as calmly as I did. I am grateful that the Lord gave me strength to be calm and handle the situation the way I did for my uncle's sake. And now, obviously, for the sake of many others, many of you have said, thank you for educating me. And it's unfortunate that this circumstance happened. Again, this was not an audit. This was not for likes and clicks and shares. I thought very long and hard about whether or not to post that video to the internet. But I chose to go ahead and go on my conviction to do so. And I am glad that my circumstance, my very unfortunate circumstance, my uncle's very unfortunate circumstance, my Fatty Bunting's very unfortunate circumstance is allowing folks out there to learn. And I want it to help us grow and love one another more. That's it, neighbors. That's what I want. I want to bring damn kindness back to the world. I want to bring love back to the world. It is dying more and more every day and very fast. And if we don't start doing something, it's just going to die. Don't give in to the hate, you guys. If you redress your grievances with your government being the Columbia Police Department, all the police are named with their names and badge numbers in the video. And I'm sorry, I do not have time to go through the video right now and get all that info to write it down for you. But I will post the phone number in the description to the Columbia Police Department and to the hospital as well. Please understand this hospital is taking care of sick people. Please be mindful of that fact. Please call and ask for administration, not nurses, not charge nurses, not the people of the situation directly. And when you redress your grievances to your government and this facility, please do it with respect, professionalism, and courtesy. Just because they did me dirty and do other people dirty does not mean we should do them dirty, because then we're only as bad as them. Don't be the same, be the change. Trademarked. And again, be kind to them. Even if you don't feel they deserve it, be kind to them and redress your grievances with politeness. Please, because you don't do me any favors, and you don't do the world any favors, you don't do the situation any favors, and you don't do this future lawsuit any favors if you call cursing and screaming and calling names and saying horrible bad things. Just redress your grievances, but do it with respect and honor and dignity. Do it with kindness. Do it with killing them with kindness. There's a Bible scripture that says that if you love your neighbor, your enemy, and you pray for your enemy, then it's like heaping hot coals on their head. A lot of people think like that's, yeah, I'm getting them. That's right, I'm hurting them. And in ways you are, but that is a text that comes from when Ethiopians and other tribes would travel from place to place. You see these Africans and everybody carry their waters and their baskets of laundry and their fruits and everything on their head. Well, when they would travel in cold, they had pots that they made for their heads, and they would put hot coals in them and travel with them on top of their head to keep their body heat in. And so what Jesus was saying in that is that when you love your enemy, you're keeping them warm, and you're softening their hard, filthy, vile, disgusting, wretched, dirty, mean heart. And so do that, neighbors, and the world will get better. So again, I hope you watched this to the end. I hope you watched the other video in full. And if you watched this first, here is the end card to watch that other video that this is about. And neighbors, please be kind to one another. Everyone is facing a battle. And if you don't take the time to ask, you know nothing about it. Just like all these neighbors I dealt with at the hospital, they're all facing battles. That doesn't give any of us a right to treat each other like shit. Instead, let's share our battles. Let's ask one another what our battles are, and let's carry the burdens of life together. We're all swimming around in the shit soup of life, sorry. And once in a while, lend somebody your floaties. Okay, the more we shit in the shit soup, the thicker it gets. The more turds floating around, the more we all smell poopy, look poopy, and act poopy. And so, I oftentimes in my life have let my shitty life cause me to be unkind to others. And I was a very, very, very kind kid, and I got bullied a lot. They say nice guys finish last, but the Bible says the last will be first and the first shall be last. And it says, blessed are the meek, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And so, neighbors, I'm fine being the nice guy that finishes last, because in Jesus' eyes, I finished first. And you can too. So be kind to your neighbor. As I said one more time, those of you that are regular on the channel, say it with me. Be kind to one another. Everyone is facing a battle. I love all 8 billion of you, even though I suck at it. And even though I might not actually mean that for some of you, because you've done some really dirty things. But that's it. Until next time, neighbors, let's keep persevering.